Hello everyone, I'm Shushei, and that's gonna be my guide to Viktor. Okay, so first we're gonna cover his abilities. So first is his siphon power, which gives him shield, gives him deals slight damage to enemy minions, and also changes your next auto attack dealt in 2 seconds to magic damage burst. The next skill is the gravity field, which slows your enemy, also applies a stack every half a second, and with 3 stacks it stuns the enemy for a second and a half. The next ability is a Death Ray, which deals damage in straight lane, similar to a Rumble ult, it just doesn't persist on ground, but the targeting is pretty same. The last ability, Ultimate, is a Chaos Storm, which creates a cloud at the place that deals initial burst damage, and then you can control the crowd just like T-Burst, clicking R somewhere, and for several seconds it deals a damage per second to enemies in the range. Uh, Now you can also, with the new Viktor, you can augment all 3 abilities, which gives you something improved. The first ability you want to improve is the Death Ray, which creates an aftershock explosion after your laser that follows the laser briefly and deals the same amount of damage if if the laser didn't hit the enemy, or deals only 40% of the damage to the targets that were hit by the Death Ray. The next augment would be the implosion on the gravity field, which when the enemy gets stunned, they also get knocked up to the middle of the gravity field. It's really helpful. It's really good combo if you have Yasuo in team, because it knocks enemies into the middle, and Yasuo can ultimate them then. The last augment would be a turbocharge on siphon power, which when casting it instantly gives you not only shield and improve auto attack, but also gives you 30 movement speed for a short time. Okay, when you have all 3 augmented, you also get your Chaos Storm augmented, which makes the Chaos Storm move 20% faster. Remember that Chaos Storms move faster the closer you are to it. For example, if the Chaos Storm is here, it's gonna move like super fast, but if it's here and I'm here, it's gonna move slowly. So it's better to stick to your enemies that you want your Chaos Storm on. Also, the opponents usually ignore the after effect of Chaos Storm and they stand and fight in the range of that. Okay, now let's move to cover the runes and masteries and items. So first, let's go to the runes. So for runes, I'm using the standard rune page mostly, which is magic penetration on reds, flat health on yellow, flat magic resist on blue, and flat ability power on quintessences. Also, if you're playing against Zed or Yasuo on mid, you could consider changing to these runes. It's also magic penetration on reds, it's armor on yellow, it's flat AP on blue, and flat AP on quintessences. Now let's move on to the masteries. So for masteries, I'm using this mastery for Viktor every time. I was thinking at the start of using the Arcane Blade, but ultimately decided to stick to Double-Edged Sword. So I'm using Double-Edged Sword for increased damage because Viktor is a burster. Then I have Butcher and Fist for easier last hitting and also for some extra sustainability on lane. Then I have full AP tree, which is cooldown reduction, AP per level, flat AP, and increased ability power percentage. I also use Executioner, which makes me deal 5% more damage to targets below 50% health. I use the magic and armor penetration and 3% increased damage. In utility I use mana regen, movement speed, reduce the cooldown of summoner spells, and running affinity. If you don't think you're gonna get this blue buff, you can go for increased duration of potions and elixirs, and also Culinary Master, which turns your potions into cookies, which instantly restore 20 health and 10 mana on use. Okay, now let's move to item sets. So for item sets, starting items I would recommend Doran's Ring, Health Potion and Warding Totem. Then I would try to rush the improved Hex score MK1, so you can improve your death ray ASAP. Then I would go for boots, which makes it you're more mobile, you get better roam, and you also can dodge enemy abilities easier if it's a skill-based champion. And then I would try to get really quick needlessly large shot and turn it into Rabadon Death Cap ASAP. So after we have those three items, I would go for perfect hex score when we have Rabadon Death Cap finished. Also, if you're playing against Z, I would recommend getting Zonia first, then the core, then Rabadon, then Void stuff. Eventually, if they have, if you have already Zonia and perfect hex score, but enemy got really a lot magic resist, then you would like to consider going Void stuff before Rabadons. And as a last item, I would recommend going Lichbane, which makes you your auto attack after Q really bursty. With the full items build, you deal 1200, around 1200 from auto attack on creep. And if you have a really tanky setup that's can peel really nicely for you, or if you don't feel really threatened by enemy team, you can change Zonia for Deathfire Grasp. This way you're also gonna get some cooldown reduction, some insane burst, because if you use the Q, which deals like 500 damage with Deathfire, after Deathfire Grasp it's gonna be 20% more damage. And also then you use the Lichbane auto attack with Q, increased damage on auto attack, which gonna deal around 2k damage, I don't know, around let's say 1.5, which we alone with Q and Deathfire Grasp you can easily nuke 2000 damage on the enemy with this build. But if you feel that you kinda need this Zonia because, like I said, they have nice assassins, or you just don't wanna risk that if you get off position or to get caught, then better go with Zonia. Okay, so now we have the introduction covered. Now we're gonna move to the laning phase and the teamfight phase, where I'm gonna explain how you should play Viktor to be efficient. The laning I wanted to show you is Viktor against Yasuo. Right here you need to remember to check first what Yasuo starts with, and don't go too forward on lane before knowing what skill he has, because if he starts with E, he can easily out-trade any mage, especially with that shield of his. The other thing you need to remember while playing against Yasuo as Viktor, always try to hit him with auto attacks whenever he's in range and not looking like going forward at you. Also, whenever he has a shield, try to get it with auto attack and not with spell to preserve some mana, because if you throw some too much mana on his shield, you're not gonna have mana to poke him at all. As you've seen here, since Yasuo started with Q, I was able to push the lane slightly without any fear while last hitting really nicely. And I also asked Rengar to come early gank mid, because I said that I need that against Yasuo, and he's gonna come in a moment, which works pretty well for us. Right now you can see that Rengar is coming to us, and I'm trying to set to a position where I can throw a good gravity field onto Yasuo. If I throw a good gravity field onto Yasuo, he either has to go forward to dodge the gravity field or flash away. Okay, here you can see that Yasuo moves forward as I prepare, and here I see him being in really good position for my gravity field to go. So I place it slightly behind him, so he has to either step forward or run back. And also when he's in range of Rengar, so Rengar just jumps on Yasuo while throwing his empowered bola before on him, so he gets rooted in my slow, which also gonna result in a stun. And then we have some free damage going on Yasuo, which is really nice for us. I also ignite him. You've seen him being stunned there. Then Rengar Thrush to follow up the kill, and we get Yasuo. Sadly, Yasuo had the first blood, so it's way better for him. But on the other hand, we had a kill and an assist. Which you can see he got 381 gold, while actually wait. Well, it's shown that he got first blood, but I think we had first blood, so it's actually better for us. Because he got, Rengar got more gold and I got 200 gold for assist, while Yasuo got only 281 gold. So Yasuo got a lot less gold than me. And even if Yasuo had the first blood, I only got 200 gold less than him, but I can push the lane and get the XP advantage. So now I'm just gonna skip some part and show you when we come back to lane after that. Okay, so here I'm back on lane, Yasuo is back on lane, and what I'm gonna do now is gonna try to bait Yasuo to some small petty fights where I come ahead of them. Like, I try to not trade him with the wall on, or like when he throws wall I just back off. Then I only focus on last hitting, unless he steps to last hit himself, then I try to poke him down whenever I can. Right now I also have more creeps on the lane, and I'm gonna try to bait him into them. So, because remember that if you're fighting with more enemy creeps, then you're gonna get more damage. The creeps really hurts you. Right now, right Trey, we can see that he went on me. We dealt around the same damage to each other, and then he backs off, right? But he also got some extra damage from creeps. Here he's gonna come on me without tornado and throw a wall. That wall is kinda bad because it's gonna land behind me, so I can just use my skills on him anyway. So I hit my Q, then the auto attack, which you could see the empowered auto attack hurts even though it's level 1 only. I also got the shield, then my E comes off cooldown, so I just hit him with my E. And just like that, I forced him out of teamfight. Here, important thing with the laser here, like when there's a wall, you don't cast the start of laser in front of wall. Cast it behind the wall, then the laser gonna go. But if you cast the laser starting point here and going here, it's gonna stop on the wall because laser gets stopped for some reason, even though it shouldn't. Okay, so here I zoned him out of the lane, and I can push the lane and try to go roam afterwards and do whatever I want with the lane pressure. I also gonna be level 6 before him. For example, if I was level 6 here, I would have killed him without a problem. Okay, so now we're gonna move to the next part, which is some teamfight inside. I'm gonna show you how to behave as a Viktor in some teamfights. Here, enemy just killed our AD carry and then moved to Drake through the ward, so my team instantly reacts. We have almost dying Nami and then half HP Vi in the Dragon Pit. Sadly they're gonna get the Drake, but we can at least get those 2 kills if we play that properly. So here, if we also stole the Drake, that would be awesome, but I think our Rangers might a bit too fast. So I see Nami being super low. I used my ultimate on Nami and Lucian, though I overestimated my range a bit and hits only Lucian with the initial strike. But then I finish off the Nami with Q and auto attack and move my ultimates towards towards Vi. I also ignite her and we get 2 kills for Drake, which sets us slightly behind, but not. We get something back in return, so it's not that bad, and we also get that on Viktor, which is really strong late game. Here we have a team fight initiated by Gnarl, who was pushing mid, and then enemy Nidalee teleports to close him off, while Yasuo, Nami and Vi close him from behind. So on the other hand, the red team, Rengar, Viktor and Sivir goes to the help, because we knew that they are around here and we wanted to rotate mid anyway. Seeing Gnarl being in trouble, who escapes really nicely with the flash, then jumps over Nami's head. Sivir uses ultimate, so we all get close faster. Also Rengar uses ultimate. So here I did one huge mistake. Since I'm in range already, I could have started with laser because it gets the biggest range, and I hit 3 of the 4 people, enemies here with the laser. But then I forgot to use my W. If I used my W after laser, I probably would have saved now, but since I did not, he's gonna die. We're still gonna win the team fight because the E burst together with my ultimate burst, which you're gonna see in a second. I did laser then ultimate, which instantly kills Vi together with Rengar, and also deals a lot of damage to enemies. Right? We win the team fight, but Gnarl dies. If I used the gravity field here on the ground, Gnarl would have survived. So for the future reference, when you're playing Viktor, remember your gravity field is a really strong skill, especially if used in the jungle fights. You have those, tight jungle passes, which if you place a good gravity field, it covers it entirely. So, for example, here, if you place gravity field here, enemy either cannot pass or they have to get stunned or separated from each other. Here, if I use the gravity field when all of the enemies stacks in one place, only Nami wouldn't get stunned, but both Vi, Yasuo, and Nidalee, who's going to jump in, would get stunned by the gravity field if I placed it here. Thanks to my damage from the E and Chaos Storm, we still managed to kill the enemies, 3 of them, to be more specific. So we killed Vi, Yasuo and Nami, and we also secured the turret. Though, like I said, if I used the gravity field correctly, then Gnarl wouldn't have to die. We had quite an extended fight around the spawning Drake, which ends up really nice for us. I stood really ahead here, knowing that Zilean have a Chronosphere and also that I have Zhonya to dodge most of the enemy ultimates and abilities if needed. So I stand forward, trying to poke the enemy as much as I can. Here we can see that I'm gonna poke the Vi, who is gonna lose a lot of health, like 1/5 health just from the laser and explosion. And remembering that I have Zhonya, and Zhonya cancels Vi ultimate, which is really nice, and you can outplay Vi like that. Also stops her midair and leaves the leaves her ultimate on cooldown. So I use Zhonya here, which stops that. Nami also gets hit by Sivir here and ends up being really low, but she uses ultimate and to follow up Vi, but I still gonna have Zhonya and it's not gonna do anything to me. So just by using Zhonya, I disrupt enemy ranks. I disrupt then their engage and their fight, so we can chase them down and get one more in the price of Rengar. And then we have a really long chase of Yasuo. We're gonna kill him, but I'm not gonna show him because it's really long. And here it wasn't as much as a Viktor gameplay because I only used Zhonya in this teamfight. But what I wanted to show you is that the items really matters. Like if I had anything else here, I would have probably instantly die here, or well, if not instantly, I would die really fast in here because Yasuo would have followed me, and he also would have ultimated Zilean in there because while Vi flies to you, she also knocks back, back the enemies around her targets and stuff. So just by that Zhonya, I managed to win us the fight, and we get 3 of them in price of 1, and we also get Drake from this teamfight. Teamfight breaks out after failed siege on the enemy mid turret. We split in the retreat, which is really bad for us, and enemy managed to catch Zilean. Though Zilean is really fast, so he managed to run far enough for us to be in range to kill Vi, and the enemy team isn't fast enough to catch up with Vi and running Zilean, so we managed to kill 1 for 1, which is really good for us. But on the other hand, then we continue fight being really low. Yasuo ultimates Gnarl here, who gets dropped really low, but Rengar also is in range, so he jumps on Yasuo. I then place a good gravity field here, preventing enemy from further going in. On the other hand, Nidalee doesn't really care for that gravity field, and she just jumps in, which later results in excluding her from the teamfight really easily. So here she's gonna jump on Gnarl, who's gonna flash, and then he's gonna flash after her, which is really a big mistake from Nidalee because she's not that tanky. We can see that she doesn't have any magic resist item, and I have a lot of AP. I have 600 AP. That means I'm gonna be able to really drop her down fast, and she's here alone in the 4 people when this guy also have Last Whisper. So since enemy team is so far behind, only Lucian being close to Nidalee, we focus all our fire on Nidalee, excluding her from that fight. Sadly she survives. She should have died here, but she gets healed by Nami, and also then she heals herself. And Nami also bubbles Rengar, and that what saves Nidalee and lets her escape here. But what's gonna happen here is here we are also low, but enemy are outnumbered right now because Nidalee cannot really turn to fight. So we decide to turn on them, and here Gnarl really nicely slows both of them, and they also group nicely for my laser, which gonna instantly kill Nami and drop Lucian really low. Together with severe boomerang combo, we managed to kill both of them. You see that instant damage from both of our spells, but while Severe was throwing boomerang, Yasuo manages to catch her with the whirlwind, but then he flashes and kills her, which kills her. While Nar didn't expect this, he tried to save her too late and pushes Yasuo here with the ultimate. We managed to kill him, and by winning that teamfight we secure ourselves enemy inhibitor and a free pass to victory later, because we also get a lot from that. We got 244 inhibitor, enemy inhibitor, and yeah, that's really good. We're actually gonna catch the Nidalee in the end. That's it for Viktor's short version. Be sure to check out the extended version, which gonna come out around Wednesday. Have a nice day. Cheers.